Welcome to LIGHHTBOB TV on this episode 4, Thursday. And today we're going to talk about lighting as a service. For most of us is a moment, but as a service, how as a designer, lighting designer, architect, whatever, uh, we can start helping ourselves and expand our service so that they're not just a one-time service. Sometimes when you think about lighting design, you think about one time. How can we come in and um, do? Well, I just got a message. One of my dear friend passed away, so rip Doris. But in the subject of lighting design, how we can have recurring strategic relationship, how we can bring strategic um, alliance with different professional, so that we can come and have some revenue recurring. When we think about lighting design, we get paid once, well, through different phase, but for one design. But the lighting decision is made for 10, 20, 30 years. So when we think about that, um, how do how do we make ourselves available for our client or future client? Because sometimes we work with the developers, and after the project is done, is sold or is given to the client, and how can we tap into this so that we can evolve and keep our project going and so forth. So the major problem we have, well, it's not a problem. It's basically what's happening in the industry. So we have different design phase. We have preliminary, conceptual design development, and then we have delivery. And these phase are, this is how we're treated. We have part of our fee per phase, certain percentage, and then sometimes there's a 5% at the end, blah blah blah. No matter what. But how can we? And also it's very precise. It's tied into a deliverable. Like when we do a preliminary, we're gonna have this done. When we do the design concept, we're gonna have this done. Then we're gonna design development, we're gonna have this done. And then each part's gonna have some sketch, some pictures, some photo, some drawings, and so forth. But the project, when you think about it, a project is a living organism. So we go there, we come before everyone. We work with the architect, we work with the client, we put the energy, we help them with the concept, we come and we put that on plan. We go through the evolution of all the change, and some projects, let's say they'll take 3 to 5 years to build. uh, there'll be some technological change, technological update. Uh, some space get repurposed, some get eliminated. Sometimes the project shrink, sometimes the projects expand. So, why is our lighting structure, our fee structure, is structured as a one transaction? And yes, we can have some change order, but it's once we start it, it's very hard to change, because the client, once it's, let's say, a year or two within the project, you're part of the furniture now. You're part of, and they, maybe you will, every month you invoice your, not every month, but every time you do a trip, or you invoice all your uh, your disbursement, the plans, the FedEx, the courier, etc., samples maybe. But that's about it. So how can we take this to the next level? And also, how can we work with our service provider and our specifier and our client to extend our service so that we are part of the also the distribution, and that we we are also part of the evolution of the project. And like, of course, part of our scope of work will do our concept review, we'll guide our clients and fixtures, and we'll do basic layout. But imagine if we could take these and give that to put that into a package, and that could become like a recurring revenue. uh, because some projects don't really require our whole spectrum of service, and sometimes our clients or specifier or electrician or the people that we work with are not don't really have an allowance or a budget to hire a lighting designer. But if we take this and we put this into a subscription model, and we say, okay, well, for $300, $400, $500, 1,000, 1,500, no matter what your price range is, will every month, you'll have so many calls, so many this, so many that, and will help you to debug you on projects. So we'll give you concept review, fixture guidance, and simple layout. And that way we have this communication going. The other way we can go is also working with different fixture manufacturers and say, okay, we can help you to uh, design fixtures, custom design luminaire. So how do we do that? Well, we'll work. We'll help you to develop some model. We'll also make sure that they integrate with architecture. We'll also, and some of them are not really equipped to, and will accept your offer, because you have a very you're in the field every day. You're in the battle every day. You go see clients, you go see electrician, you go see, architect, engineers, and so forth. So this collaboration with them is very enriching, because that's what you do. You're you don't do anything else but lighting. So as far as fixture development and so forth, it becomes an asset for them. And some of them, like I'm speaking about myself. I always stop myself. I will, oh no, they don't need this, they don't need that. And you will be surprised how, by offering your service, some manufacturer will accept it, because they don't have time. They have fulfillment. And as we've been speaking about manufacture, they have to chase technology. Maybe they have an idea, but they don't have time to put it into a product. And also, if they do, they may not have the right product. While if they ask you, and if you go around and you do your work, well, guess what? The chance that that product hits a home run is way closer than just hoping for one. So again, what we're trying to do is to tie the common language between you and the professional, and keep it going. Because once you have the revenue, once you have an incentive, once you have interest, because it's also interest from designers, architect, manufacturers, and so forth, you will be more active, you'll be more present, and by being present, you'll have access to more work. And of course, that doesn't take you away from the big, projects. That's just to maintain the relationship. Sometimes I get called just to go on job sites, to have some sites visit. I will get a call from a client. I'll get a call from an electrician, an architect. Bob, would you mind coming in? Again, that's another service that you'll be surprised how professional would love to have help onto that, because sometimes they show up to a project and they don't have all the spectrum of expertise for that particular field. They don't have they don't they you know, they may miss a thing or two because they take pictures, they take video. um, I have one of my friend that offer a service of 360-degree with Matterport camera. Yes, you have all this data, but if you don't know how to read and if you don't know what you're looking for, it's just data. It's just an image. It's just a walkthrough to a job site. But when you start seeing that a wall has been removed and there recessed lights still there, and you ask the contractor, what are those doing? Or you're looking on the plan and they were there originally, but 3 months down the road, the wall's not there. The room has changed the purpose. And then suddenly, nobody thought about moving these lights. Well, sometimes, it's just a matter of seeing it, acknowledging it, and it's done. Go to the office, you make a little change order, it's done. You don't have, fixtures that in the middle of the ceiling, and that has no use for. So again, site visits, adjustment during construction, and coordination with trade. As a former electrician, it's funny because I get instant affinity with other electricians. We talk electrician for 2 seconds, and then they know I'm an electrician. I know they are, and the language and the dialogue goes at another level. Because no matter what you do, you will always stay a consultant or an architect. And for trade people, their vision of what a professional is very different than us as a professional. So sometimes you have to, not sometimes, all the time, you have to be at the level that they are. And I'm not saying they're a lower level or high level, they're just at a different level. And knowing that and understanding that, it helps a lot. My specialty and what I like the most is the grumpy people. Grumpy old man, grumpy, superintendent. Most people that are problematic, I like that because they have a pain point. And I have no back off on pushing on it and finding it out. And most of the time I become their best friend because I can acknowledge and I can help them, and I can, do whatever in my power to release them from that pain point. And this is one of my superpower, because I all my life, I work with people that some of them say, oh, no, don't talk to him, he's problematic. Or don't talk to this client about this. As soon as somebody say that, first reflex is I go and I talk about it. Why? Because this is just the surface thing. There's something underneath, and if we don't get it to the bottom of it, it will drag and it will drag and it will drag. And the last thing I want is to be to have some kind of an argument with somebody because I didn't take my time to understand what was his problem and how I could help him. And if I cannot help him, sometimes just listening to him will, bring me to another level compared to anybody else on the job site. So for me, the coordination with the trades is very, very important. I recall a project that I did about 15 years ago. Mid-project, I had some special T-shirt made for my electrician team, and then the plumber came to me and they start saying, "Hey, what about us?" I said, "I don't care about plumbers." But what I did is I took one of my assistant and I sent him to the store, and I bought some food, and we made a huge lunch, and I invite the plumber and I invite the drywall guys and everybody that was there. There was about 30 people. And just the fact that I did put that extra care for them, anytime they would be anything about lighting, because that gave me the time and the opportunity to talk to all of them and say, "Hey, listen, guy, I'm not perfect. I don't live here." At the time I was managing a project from Montreal. The project was in California. I said, "I don't live here, and you guys are my highs on the side. So if you see something that you don't think it's right, please let me know, and I will do whatever it takes, to fix it. And that way, what I'm assuring is that I'm making sure that my project is working very well, is going smoothly, and it is executed within the timeline. Why? Because when it comes to finishes, or at the end when everybody left and they forgot one or two recess can, or there's an outlet in the wall that has been not have been done, or somebody by mistake cut a wire, and they were so afraid that they didn't tell anyone. So and most of this is accident. An accident happened on job site. So if they know that you are somebody that has, some affinity, or they can communicate to, and we have the same reality, it's very, very easy for them to come to you and say, Bob, I don't know, I think somebody else did it, but look, there's one of your wires that is there that looks like it's been cut, so you may want to do something about it. And that's how it goes, right? Now, how do we take all this service and package this into monthly revenue? Well, that's the secret, and that's what I'm still working on. But by talking to your professional, you'll see what area they are weak at. Um, it's funny because these days I work with a lot of engineers, and they don't like to go on job sites. They love to stay at their desk and work on their three screens, and resolve very serious problem. But when it's time to go on a job site and talk to contractor or to trade people, it's not their favorite thing to do. So I have a lot of traction, a lot of people, a lot of my clients are engineers, and one thing they like about me is that I go in and I get the problem resolved. And that again is something that for me it's I love to do, and for them they don't like to do, and they're willing to pay for it. And once they see the result, it makes life so much easier for them, and for me too, because then I get specific, go check this, go check that, and I got, and if it goes outside, let's say in a week I get called more than I'm supposed to, or in a month, uh, they already know that there will be an extra, and they already have it approved, and that's it. It's just a change order on the service, and it will be add on to the monthly fee. So another thing that I realized that lighting designers are good at, and again, remember when we talked about the source, we have directional, we have general diffuse. Well, guess what? Some people, some clients, some specifiers are not too good into, putting this in reality. They're not very, although they think in 3D, when it comes to real life, oh my God, I didn't think it was that big, I didn't think it was that small, I thought we had the ceiling was higher. They saw it 1,000 times on the drawing, but until they're in the space physically, they don't they don't they don't compute it. So another niche that I found is that going to do some product acquisition. Go to stores with designers and clients and look at some fixtures and source the right one. Well, this one's going to work. This one's going to work. This one's going to work. No, this one's not going to work. And then I ask them the question, why? And after a while, it starts to sink in, and then they get it. Oh my God. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe we could use this and this and this. So exactly, the product acquisition process is always an awakening moment, because you see in their eyes, they start to visualize what is a general diffuse, what is a directional, and how a directional can become indirect, and how a directional can be mounted on the ceiling or on the floor, or on the wall or in the cupboard or. So this is the best time to do this. And then there's also, like I said, sometimes it's dimensional. They specify fixtures and they don't have an idea how big it is. So we go to a showroom, we'll go to a lighting manufacturers, we'll go to another site, and we'll look at it and we'll say, well, this is what you're gonna get. Oh my God, I never thought it was that big. Oh, is this part of it? This is so ugly. Can we do something about that? Etc. Etc. So they have the reality and they see it. One thing that um, again, I was telling you in a previous podcast is that for years I never took any. I never took any commission. I never took any envelopes. I call them envelopes, kickbacks, and all that stuff. And now it's not that I take some, but if there's an opportunity, I will let my client know and we'll talk about it. But one of the things that I like about not doing that is that when it comes to negotiate with a manufacturer a package, and I don't have, because my fees are paid, um, then I know that I'm going to war for my client, and whatever money they put, to pad themselves, to think of, or maybe it's all taken out, and the price is what they're gonna pay. So that really helps the project. Now, let's say it's the opposite. Let's say the client said, Bob, I just have this amount of money and I would like you to do the engineering and the negotiation and all of that. Well, I'll do it, but I'll do it for me. I'll do it with your budget. I'll take your budget, your fixed budget, and I'll make sure that everything goes in, and I'll make sure also that I'm paid. So that's what changed into my fee structure. At some point, I was a hardcore lighting designer. I was just charging for design fee. Now I see this as a whole project. I can design and I can sell the equipment, and because I know what goes where. I know all the different distributor. I know the agents. I know the manufacturers. So I will negotiate a package for that amount of budget, including my fee. So either the client pays my fee or I pay myself with the overall budget. Which brings the last point, which is, the engineering, the value of the engineering. Uh, Engineer will give you a layer of electrical and a lighting plan that will meet standard, but that does not guarantee that it's going to be aesthetic. That doesn't guarantee that it's going to be dramatic. That doesn't guarantee that it's the best. It's going to optimize the space at the maximum. The only thing that it can guarantee is that you have the right level of light, so that if there's an accident or something and somebody goes in, to an inspector goes in with a meter, the light level will be respected. That's about it. When it comes anything above that, in let's say you are in hospitality, or you are in restoration, or you're making a resort, or you're making a house, a high-end house. Engineering drawings are basics, and most of the time will never be followed, because that doesn't really apply to what the needs of the space is. So of course, when we do residential, if we can talk a little bit about residential, uh, the emotion is the first thing. What emotional response do you want to do? Engineers are not made to think of an emotion. They're very practical. They'll put everything so that it's safe and it meets the code. Now, the other thing that engineers don't care about is the lifestyle. What are you going to do in the house? Is it the primary house? Is it a secondary house? Is this a party house? They don't care. For them, what's important is that they make a lighting plan and that they get the stamp. And once they have the stamp, you're good. You're good to go. So they will choose a simplicity road. And then on your own, you're going to have to decide and enhance whatever um, option you wanted to add, or and beautification you want to add to the project. Now, when we work about on the commercial side compared to the residential, we really have a different approach, because in commercial we'll talk about performance, we'll talk about return on investment, we'll talk about the maintenance and minimal, try to do as little as we can. So those will be the dialogue you'll have. So for that, engineers are really good to achieve these targets. Where they missed a little bit is when you talk about brand identity. They don't the guest experience, the sales velocity, like all these little things that makes the space that the humans are happening, uh, they it's not part of their scope. So again, teaming up with an engineering firm is an excellent part, because you know that you're going to have your basic layers of lighting done, and then what you have to do on a retainer base or on a monthly fee is that they're going to send you the drawing, and then you're going to do the what we talked about. You're gonna add the brand identity, you're gonna work on the guest experience, you're gonna work on maybe how can I increase the sales, how can I make this space more dynamic, and so forth. And they will love you. They will love you because that's not their vocabulary. And also, one thing they know is that if the client starts screaming, "Oh my God, it's too expensive," well, they'll know where to cut, right? But part of your job is also making sure that the client, the reason why you're putting it there, all this design effort, uh, first, you're getting paid for it. Second, is that it has a value that has not been exploited yet. So when you talk to interior designers, architects, and engineers, the most important thing is like, you know, what are you adding to this ecosystem? What's your value, right? So the intent and also the lighting depth, because most of them have basic lighting knowledge. So by you coming in and helping them to enhance, and sometimes it's just a dining room, sometimes it's just a kitchen, sometimes it's just a lobby, sometimes it's I had a client, an interior designer in Canada. She called me just for her conference room. There was two aspects of it. There was the decorative and also the multimedia part. Because like the equipment provider, the AV integrator, they would have all this equipment, and then they say, well, you need these big lights, and she was freaking out. She was like, no way, I'm not having this into my boardroom. So she hired me to do an extra layer that would serve dual purpose, that would work with the interior design, but also would have a function as something to be used in when they were on audio video mode or conference call, etc., etc. Now, when speaking of audio video, the AV integrator and the electrician are what I call the installing parts, right? And those two, I did a lot of consulting for them, and you'll be surprised when you have an electrician that does probably, I don't know, anywhere from 15 to 20, 30 projects a year, and mid to high end. They have a lot of lighting requests. And they don't know what to tell the clients. They don't know, and the last thing they hate is then when they finish the job and then the client says, "Oh yeah, can you add this there, and can you add this there?" And then they have to go and run some wires and fish and add some switch. It's always a pain in the butt. So what you're trying to do is position yourself at the beginning of every client's by having a monthly retainer and be there, so that you can answer these questions. You can provoke, you can plant some seed and provoke an answer. Say, okay, what do you do during the holiday? Describe to me how the holiday lighting happens in this beautiful house. You're just building a 5, 6, 7,000 square feet house, and now what are you doing for Christmas? Nobody's going to tell you nothing. Well, we're going to have a couple trees. We'd like lighting outside. We like this. We like that. You see, right now, you start to see the program is expanding. The electrician, will start saying, okay, yeah, well, we need outlets there. We need this. We need that. So his scope is so the couple hundred, $500-$600 a month he's paying you, transform into 5, 6, 7, 10, 20, $100,000 in additional work, because you are planning a party panel at the other end of the garden, because when they have garden party 3 times a year, they have cater that comes and they need to have powers, and normally they have a big generator and you don't like the noise, so why not install a panel? Well, this is an extra $20,000. So your contribution is very, very noted and appreciated and paid for a lot of reasons. So AV people, the same. Audio video people, the same. More and more, like I was telling you, they have this job. They become the custodian of low voltage lighting. Doesn't mean that because they can solder wires on a strip light, they know lighting. They don't know lighting. And yes, they can reproduce what's on the brochure, but if you have a client that has a bit more interest in something custom, why would you stop there when you can do something, a beautiful creation? I still have my runny nose. Wow. So now you see the lighting break between traditional fee and recurring fee. Now you can see that part of your job is also educating your future client on why they will need you. And the gap between the two is where leadership lives. And again, like, leadership is not something you learn in a book. It's something that you learn on the job. That's something that you decide one day, well, you know what? I'm going to become better. I'm going to become the best at what I do. And I'm going to train, and I'm going to listen to people that have been there. And I'm going to take nuggets wherever I can so I can become a better lighting expert. And this translates in many, many different things. As before, you had a one-time design fee. You were delivering drawings, and you would do a few job site inspection and walk away. Now, what are you doing is you're doing ongoing advisory. You are on-call presence. You need me on a job site. You need me at the store. You have product oversight. Well, I want to put that. What do you think? Well, send me a picture. Well, can you send me the detail? Can you send me the model number? You look at it. You say, listen, this is not going to work. I don't want to break your heart, but this fixtures you're trying to import from this country is very nice, but it's not going to work. Or it's going to require, a certain amount of work to meet the North American standards. So now you're becoming more like a strategic partner, and you're creating your work, and you have continuity in the project and with your client, and you're educating them, and then you become part of a lighting system. You're not just a lighting designer. You're creating a lighting tribe. You're creating your following. You're creating people that that are love to work with you, because your viewpoint on projects, you never have the same viewpoint. You're not limited. You go outside. You bring ideas from motion picture. You bring ideas from additive manufacturing, you bring ideas from medical, you bring ideas because that's what your curiosity and the fact that you're working with several other people on a continuous base, you increase your knowledge and your way of operation, and you become better at what you do. So again, monthly fee, projects oversight, team alignment, vendor coordination, all these different layers are part of what you're going to be putting into your recurring fee. The reason why, well, if you don't do it, somebody else will. And I was wondering, like, how popular is that and who does that? Well, there's more people than you think, more designers than you think that are, but they keep it a very well hidden secret. So again, I'm not here to to tell you that you cannot do it. I'm here to empower you, and I know that you can. Different ways of empowering. One is make sure that your minimum and all your operations are covered, and after that you can enhance your career. You can go and study a little bit more. You can go into more trade shows. You can do, because all this enhancement that you're doing on yourself costs money. Even experimenting, you want to have a prototype done. Sometimes the client will pay, sometimes it will not. If you want to work on your own project, where do you get the money? Exactly. So residential, commercial, developers, specifiers, installers, that is the order where I see opportunity to and I do. Every time I see one, I ask them, how can I help you? How can I enhance? How and one of my favorite question is, how can I give you more time? And they say, what do you mean? Well, I'm a lighting guy. I know a lot about lighting, and how can I, with my knowledge, help you to have more time for you? And this is something that communicate very well because we're all chasing our tails. We're all having a lot of work to do. And again, it's part of the evolution and part of improving your condition and flourishing and prospering. And all of that is done in different way. And the way that I tell my student all the time and younger designer is that you're always trying to get a better client than the last one, a better one, and a better one. And by natural elimination, you're dropping the one that are not good are dropping, and you replace it with somebody better. So I hope this helped you a little bit, and I hope also that now you start thinking about who can you talk to, or who haven't you talked to for a while, that you can call and ask them how they're doing, what what they're working on, and how you can give them more time with the lighting. And also telling them the good news that you have this new program that is, $300, $400, $500, and this is the kind of little bullet point that they can have for that price, and that anything, if let's say they have a bigger needs, then the price increase and the service expand. So it is a very scalable way to work with clients, and enhance your own revenue. And there's no right or wrong way to do it. The best way is to start. As soon as you start, you're gonna make mistake, and you're gonna fix it. And like I said, the next one you're gonna make less mistake, less mistake, less mistake, and at some point you'll discover a very comfortable area where you have your time to, where you have enough recurring revenue that it gives you whatever you want, And also you work with clients that you like, because if you don't like to work with electrical contractor, don't go see them. Don't, because you're just going to go against your own. And if you want to work with only architect, well, work with architect. And just around your area, there's probably, there's a few architects that you can work that can give you steady work. And then if you increase, and then when you start, doing international project, and if you want to do bigger and bigger project, then of course the means are going to justify the direction that you're going. Wow. So tomorrow I'm flying to LA, going to meet some clients, delivering some stuff, some crazy, some beautiful stuff, lighting, custom lighting fixtures I made, and I'll be back Tuesday. So next Tuesday, we're going to talk about equivalency. So how do we deal with equivalent? So because Tuesday is fixture day. So yeah, I hope you have a very good weekend. Thank you for being there, helping me out, and